Amigas, I'm so sorry for this stark intro, but I have tried to refilm this video 3 times, and if it wasn't an audio issue, it's now a focus issue. So this whole video, I am out of focus, and it genuinely I wanted to cry because I just want to get this video up. So I'm probably just going to be using B-roll footage for most of it, with me popping in here and there, but I am out of focus for most of it, so I'm so sorry, but I just wanted to get this video up. Here we go. Hi YouTube world, it's Mara, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is the first time you're watching me. If you hear any background noise, I'm so sorry about that, but it is my family, and we're just a loud Mexican family. Like, what can you do about it? There's really no optimal time to film here. So anyway, let's get into it. So at the beginning of the year, I started a Showing Up Fully for Myself series and just seeing where my personal growth would take me by putting myself first. And it has been intense of a year, but I also feel like I've grown so much in this year, with I think the biggest growth being the last quarter. Also, if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my laptop that's right here because I like journal these because it's a reflection basically on what has happened in the last 3 months, and it helps me keep my thoughts more cohesive. And I think the biggest thing that I feel like I learned about myself this quarter was how deep some of my wounds went, because it was things that I thought I had already healed and I had already, I'm over it type of vibe. And then to be triggered by it again, I was just like, holy shit, like, whoa. I didn't know that little girl inside of me was that sad and that wounded and that upset. And most of it was really just revolving around my self-doubt and my confidence. And definitely during Mercury retrograde, I had like 3 nights in a row where I was just mentally breaking down. Like, I could not see the light in anything, literally just crying myself to sleep, waking up puffy, and realizing I had to do life all over again. And in the throes of those mental breakdowns is when like all of my limiting beliefs just come up, normally around the same thing about my career and my life. And it's just like, I will never achieve my dreams, like things like that just don't happen to people like me, or I'm not good enough for my dreams. And when like my brain just keeps repeating those things to myself, it literally feels like my heart is being ripped out of my chest. And more so because my brain has already imagined myself accomplishing those things. So when I'm telling myself these things, it's me crushing my own possibilities, my own probability of me actually achieving those things that I already in my brain feel like happened, feels like it's for me, feel like it's meant for me. So it's a really painful experience is what I'm trying to get across. And then a few days later, when the clarity has finally set in, and honestly it was due to a book I was reading, it's called I'm Diosa. Such a good book. I actually have it here. This is it. As you can see, I have heavily annotated it. But anyway, obviously I believe in divine timing, so there was a prompt about, I don't remember exactly which one, but it was a prompt about unpacking things, of course, and I was finally ready to unpack my trauma. So, and the prompt really helped me realize that one of my biggest traumas when I was a child was not feeling heard, like not feeling like my opinion was worthy enough of being heard, and that I wasn't important enough to be listened to, and that I was a burden for people to take their time and energy and want to hang out with me or listen to what I had to say. And this is no shade or disrespect to my parents. I literally completely understand my parents literally did the best they could with the tools that they grew up with. It's just how my little self interpreted certain events. It could have been such a harmless event, but myself and my little self with all insecurities that I had at the time packed it and placed it in my heart like this. I just want to put that disclaimer. And literally when I had that realization, it was like a floodgate of tears just coming out of me. I was ugly Kim Kardashian crying. But it also is like funny to me because we literally had this like running joke that like I was so quiet growing up and like I didn't talk until I was 4 years old. And I'm like, it kind of makes sense now. And for the most part, I just remember, like, I can just vividly remember feeling shut down a lot. Like, my ideas and my opinions weren't good enough, and that it was lame, whatever input I had to give in that conversation. So I think a huge part of me just shut down. And obviously interpreted that into me being unworthy of being heard of, me being unworthy of people's time and energy, that I was unworthy of my dreams, I was unworthy of my desires, I was unworthy of the love that I dream of, just unworthy in general. So literally after I was done ugly crying, I was just journaling about what I would tell my younger self in that moment when she felt like that. And I just said I was so sorry to her for, I just told her that I was so sorry she ever felt like that she was always so worthy and deserving of people listening to her, and she was always so worthy of her dreams and desires, and that she had beautiful, wonderful, amazing ideas and opinions that were deserving of being heard, and that she deserved a place to be able to fully express herself and not feel shut down, and to be able to dream that anything was possible for her. And I think the biggest thing was that I told myself that it is now my job to make her feel seen and make her feel heard, because she didn't have me and the confidence and the awareness that I do now. So now that I know better, I can do better. And now stepping into the new me, I want myself to know that my experience, emotions, desires, feelings, all of it is innately valid because that's me. And I don't need to be validated by others in likes, shares, compliments from people. And more than anything, I am innately worthy of anything I desire just for existing. I don't have to prove myself to feel worthy of anything in general. So another thing that has greatly impacted my confidence, and I think in a good way. At first it was a hard lesson, but now I feel like I've kind of over the hurdle, but was my hair. And honestly, it really made me delve into my beauty standards and how I choose to define femininity, because I felt like for such a long time I just used my hair as a blanket. Because when I was growing up as a teen in the early 2010s, the image that was very much pushed onto us by everything everywhere was Victoria's Secret models. And what do most Victoria's Secret models at that time have? That beautiful long bombshell hair. And I feel like for such a long time, that's what subconsciously was embedded in my brain as the beauty standard. And I mean subconsciously because I can look at a woman who doesn't look like a Victoria's Secret model and say, she is so beautiful, she is stunning, most gorgeous woman I've ever seen on this planet. But subconsciously, I am trying to portray more of that Victoria's Secret model-esque essence because that's what's so deeply ingrained in me. So when I chopped my hair off, it really made me be like, oh shit, what do I view as femininity? What do I view as my own beauty standards? Because there were days where I was like, fuck, I don't feel beautiful. I feel horrible. Why did I chop my fucking hair off? That was the stupidest decision I've ever made. And then I began to try and unpack that too, being like, okay, well, why do I not feel beautiful with short hair? And then I was like, well, because long hair is always seen as feminine and more girly, and I don't feel feminine with short hair. And I was like, okay, but why? Why do I not feel feminine with short hair. And I was like, well, because it's not my definition of femininity. But then I'm like, that never was my definition of femininity. That was the definition of femininity that was placed onto me by conglomerates that want to sell you their products. And that fucking sucked, but it was such a wonderful wake-up call, because I feel like I have grown into my hair so much. And honestly, my fashion taste, I just feel like I'm a lot more confident in standing by my fashion choices. Like, it might be the ugliest fucking thing to somebody else in the world, which is fashion. Fashion is subjective. It doesn't fucking matter. But I feel like I now have the confidence to stand by my choice, to be like, I fucking love my short hair. I don't care that your version of femininity might be that Victoria's Secret model, but it's not for me. I don't even think femininity at this point comes from your looks. It's an energy within you. And that realization has greatly, I think, like, lifted a weight off my shoulders of me being able to be like, fuck it, I genuinely don't care what other people think about my outfits, the way I look, my makeup, nothing, because my femininity isn't something that I feel the need to put on display now to be accepted by society as my role in this society. And I feel like that has been such a liberating notion for me this quarter, and I fucking love it. After I had all these realizations, I also just felt a little stagnant, as in I hadn't felt like I challenged myself in a while, or hadn't been challenged. I don't know, fitness-wise, creatively, nothing. So I challenged myself to do a 75 hard. And I am now on day, like, I want to say 30, 31, around there, ballpark, question mark. But it has been way harder than I thought, but also I feel like I've had so many self-discoveries with that as well. And I think I might start vlogging my weeks, because I want to keep you guys in the know of how my 75 hard is going, because we still have a month and a half left of the year. Because the way it happened was, I was watching a TikTok and they were like, if you start your 75 hard today, you will end at December 31st and literally be a completely different person. And I don't know why I just felt so called to do it, but I was like, fuck it, let's do it. Like, there's only 3 months left in the year. Let's fucking do it. So, yes, I want to start vlogging my weeks, so then that way we go through my 75 hards together, and it'll be fun, I think. Other than that, I feel like I just feel like such a different person than the person in September. Like, I can't even explain the drastic jump that I feel as a person. So, peace and blessings, and I'll see you guys in the next one.